Ri India hi bro kawai menta kasni ka khan riu tere gunai wing harjar arp sau ka rakhe ya kasni karpang jong nongthoh khubor lani ka National Press Day bat kumjuru ha ka jala Meghalaya la rakhe ya kani kasni ha State Convention Center ha ka bau Myntri Rangbah ka jala Konrad Sangma ulaidon bentalang rengkaru kinongelam jong ka Shillong Press Club bat kinongelam jong ka Meghalaya Editors and Publishers Association Myntri Rangbah ka jala ha bakren ha kani kasni ulapan pau ka jingtmu jong sarkar pan bha ya ka jinge trailang ha padeng nongthoh khubor bat katanat DIPR nda ka bathau ya ka committee ka baret na ka benta kani ka jingtmu Myntri Rangbah ulai thuru sapang ki skhim jingïarap jong sarkar na ka benta nongthoh khubor ula Pynbna ba ka jingïarap pisa bala ai siki longyeng jong nongthoh khubor ke bala khlat no an penkiu na ka silak sya ka sanlak tengka nalor kata ka jingïarap na ka benta nongthoh khubor ki badon ka jingduna ha ki khotmet bat kimla asu bantrai kam na ka sanpo hajar sya ka lailak bat kumjuru banyarap ki nongthoh khubor ke bai kendu jing'e na ka sanpo hajar sya ka lailak tengka.
This is a very special day. First of all, I would like to appreciate Shillong Press Club to put this together, take this initiative. Before we even requested, and they have taken this initiative to organize National Press Day, and they have brought MEPA and DIPR together. It's a wonderful job that they have done. Because other states, if you see, the government is conducting they have taken the initiative. But this is the only place where a Shillong Press Club, a press club has taken the initiative. That's something wonderful. And not only that, they have brought together all the journalists. Ever since they have taken charge, the new leadership has come in Shillong Press Club. There are a lot of changes. I see the one pack, the journalists are one pack. So I see a lot of unity and they're all together and they are working on many other things that they're going to see a future. So I would like to really appreciate the leadership of Shillong Press Club for taking this initiative. And this day is very, very important for all the journalists, of course, for our country also. November 16 is the day when Press Club of India started functioning. So Press Club of India, actually it was in 1965, the Act came. In 1966, the first Press Club of India was set up. But in 1975, unfortunately, due to emergency, the Act was repealed, and then the Press Club of India was closed down. It was a very, for media, it is something we cannot even talk about it. It's something like that. So immediately after the emergency was over, 1975, again the same act was enacted in exactly same spirit. Even it's even improved, and then the present Press Club of India came into being in 1976 and November 16. So that is why it's a very great thing that we have to celebrate, because if you see the Constitution of India, the thinkers, the people who drafted this Constitution of India, they never have given the provision for media. Media has evolved. They have only three organs of the state, if you see, the judiciary, legislative and executive. Media was not there. Media has taken the place, evolved slowly, and then it has become a fourth pillar. Everybody recognizes it as a fourth pillar. Of course, judiciary has given a lot of support to media over a period of time. But if you see the executive and legislature, they are not separate anymore. They are together. You always see the legislative and executive together. Bureaucracy is totally, the autonomy of bureaucracy has come down, reduced, but the autonomy, freedom of judiciary has increased tremendously over a period of time. Along with the judiciary, and the media has grown. This is a very beautiful, if you look into the past, how the media has evolved over a period of time. It's a beautiful story for India. Because if you see the Constitution, only the one word is written, but that is given to everybody. 19(1)(a), the fundamental right, it's a freedom of speech. It's given to every citizen. But it is interpreted that it's a freedom of press. And it's evolved in such a way, and there are many judgments, Supreme Court judgments, that have said that the media is equally, the freedom of media is equally important as freedom of speech. So, having said that, over a period of time, when the newspaper was there, it was very simple. Press Club of India is there. The main objective of Press Club of India was to ensure two things: the balance between the freedom of press and the responsibility. responsibility of them, because if they don't self-regulate, and then the power, you don't have the power anymore. So somebody has to regulate. If you don't regulate yourself, then somebody will regulate. That somebody will be definitely government. Government to regulate, the media themselves, they gathered together and they regulated themselves. They put restrictions. There are journalistic standards. The PCI is continuously giving out different, setting up standards for journalistic standards, which is sacrosanct for all the journalists. And especially in our Meghalaya, I see that very high standards of journalists compared to many other states. Because I have experienced when I was working in Delhi, I have seen this very closely, how the ethics, journalistic ethics are in other states. Compared to other states, our state is much, much better. If you touch any journalist and then there is something there, I don't know how it's, because it's not it's not that you have an orientation. I don't know where it's coming from, because it's not that when you get into the profession, there's an orientation, or maybe it's not that SPC is conducting an orientation to them. But it's automatically coming. I talk to every journalist, there's a standard there. There's the ethics. He doesn't do anything that is, if you go to other states, they even threaten, they send a draft media report, send it to the officer or politician, and then they have some deal. So I've seen these occasions many times it's being reported. But only the newspaper was there, it was pretty simple. You know, they could organize themselves and they could control, regulate themselves. When the TV broadcast has come, again we have tried to bring in broadcasters association is there, but still the sensationalism has become big thing, because TV, when there were very few channels it was fine, but the number of channels are there, and then the attention span is very, very less. So now you have to sensationalize. So another aspect of sensationalism has come into being. Has totally changed, and the future is going to be more interesting, because so now how do you regulate now? How do you self-regulate? Because there are three individuals who are dominating the entire scene. One is Meta, the head of the Meta, head of the Google, and head of X. Just three guys who are dominating the entire thing. Even if you see individual news channels are there, but even I can type the Sri Lanka Times and .com and then see the news. But the aggregators are come. Google is a bigger aggregator of news. So you can go to Google. Now if you open Google, if you see, and the first thing will come Al Jazeera, BBC. If you don't control if I open Google News, and the Google is deciding which news I am going to see first. The first news is always generally BBC. BBC is anti-India. Al Jazeera is anti-India. And these are so they are regulating. The Google is dominating now. So it's a very challenging task right now, because people don't have time to go to individual news channel and then see. And so it's a social media has come where the private, everybody can report. Those days, the access to information was available only to the media. Media can go interview anybody, and then they have the access to information. When RTI has come, it has become more beautiful, because now the investigative journalism started when the RTI came. Now the media, they filed RTI and they got a lot of information. They analyzed the information and then they have reported. It has become more in-depth. So now RTI is still there, but still, the media, even the government is reporting on its own. It has its own channels. Every department has its own website, its own channel. They are reporting. Especially the individuals like celebrities, they are reporting on this. They don't need to depend. Earlier, one journalist can ruin one celebrity's life. But now the things have changed. They are on their own. They can report. Only they are reporting. The celebrities are reporting on their own. A lot of things have changed. It's more interesting now, and it's going to be more and more interesting. So it's more challenging for the government, in fact, not only for the. So I would like to thank the organizers, SPC, and everybody. Thank you.
Congratulate and give my best wishes to our press fraternity on the National Press Day, which we have, which is being done to commemorate the establishment of the Press Council of India. We have also seen and heard our Commissioner Secretary mention about the Shillong Press Club and the important role that they have played in making today's program a reality, And I also would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the new executive committee and the leadership of the Shillong Press Club, under which we are seeing a large number of activities and a number of reforms taking place in the overall press sector and in the Shillong Press Club. I was listening to the speech of Mr. Myntri, and he has very nicely given us a very kind of a history of how the press in our country has evolved. In fact, many things I did not know, so it was a learning kind of an experience for me. And it was very interesting to hear him speak about the different aspects, especially when he mentioned about the role of the press and the specific words he used regarding the balance between freedom and responsibility. And I found that to be, I think, at the core of why we all are here today. And it will be very important, as very rightly put by the president of MEPA, that while we celebrate the National Press Day, it is always important for anybody, be it a politician or be it any person or any individual, to always look back at what he or she has done and contributed, or have you actually been working towards the purpose that you had set off to do in the beginning. And I think it's a great moment to reflect back, as he said, on each and every one, where you should look back at what you have contributed through the year and whether you have taken the right steps, done the right thing. And I think these two words will guide you in terms of being able to really see whether you have been able to achieve the kind of thoughts and ideas that you wanted to. And the words, as correctly said by Mr. Myntri. I also would like to share my few thoughts on the changing nature of the press. And I have been speaking a lot about this in the past also. As correctly mentioned by Mr. Myntri, that we are seeing a very fine line today between journalism and just simple information that's coming out, or simple, updates being put up on social media or WhatsApp messages. So who defines what is news today and what is just, another WhatsApp message that has come to us? And I guess it will evolve. It will take time. But I think we are at that particular crossroads where it is not very clear as of now. And the complication in media today, what we are seeing, is precisely this crossroad that we are in right now, where the difference or the line between, as I mentioned, journalism and information and simple updates being put up, the lines are very, very thin. And for whatever reason, the readers and the public at large are not able to define that particular line and be able to judge what is actual news and what is not a news actually, or a fake news in some cases. So therefore, I strongly feel that the media, the press, the professionals involved, they will have to ensure that this entire difference between just normal information coming in and the news that is meant to reach to the people, it must be very, very clearly defined. And I don't really have a solution for that. I know I'm sounding, like a normal person just going to give a lecture without any solution, but only telling you the problem. But that is really what the issue is. So really, that's really the challenge which we face, and that's the changing nature of the press. And it's not just press. I guess it's a disruption that we are seeing in terms of technology coming into the picture, and it's disrupting obviously everything. And disruption is not always a bad thing, as we all know. It's a question of how we adapt to this entire disruption that takes place. So therefore, it'll be very important as the press club, as the MEPA, the associations, that you have to work and discuss with your own teams and your own committee members to work on ways and means in which we can, differentiate between that and ensure that the sanctity of the news and the information that is coming out remains. And we as a government, obviously, we look forward to suggestions that could come from your side that would help us in being able to maybe create the necessary policies and frameworks and different aspects of technology as well, and laws that could then regulate these kind of things. And of course, there's a very delicate balance again between the regulation and freedom of press, and hence we have to be very careful while we go down that particular road. But of course, as I said, we should and we hope that we will be able to adapt to this particular changing nature of press, and hopefully the Shillong Press Club and the MEPA and the DIPR will be able to show the way to perhaps the rest of the country also, when it comes to really figuring out how we'll be able to define proper ways and means in which we can regulate and we can ensure that proper news and proper information is given to the people. While saying that, I also would like to take this opportunity to stress on a lot of aspects of governance also. Recently, we had just organized a regional trip. I had mentioned this in my last meeting with all of you, that I've seen that, the Shillong Press Club or the MEPA is very Shillong-centric. And hence, we don't get information beyond Shillong city. And therefore, it's not a very healthy trend, because majority of our population is outside the city. And how do we involve other journalists, or how do we activate people so that more information can come from the rural areas also, because it's very important to be able to reflect what's happening in the rural areas also. And therefore, the next step was, what we took was to send some of you to different corners of the state, where I'm sure that many of you have not been to. And I'm sure it was an eye-opener for all of you when you went there. So like that, we're very keen to see that, that we're able to expand the journalist base to beyond just Shillong, and try to see how we could involve our rural areas also into this. And that brings me to the point in which I would like to bring in that not just overall here in terms of our regional presence, but I would like to see that our journalists are also trained in the correct manner. It's important for capacity building to be done. In every profession, there is always scope to learn. And hence, I think it's important that our journalists are exposed and given training. Of course, not the wrong kind of training which Vijay Myntri was mentioning about, but the right kind of training in the positive sense, of course, and learn the good things. So I think that is important for journalism. And while we do that, as I said, we're hoping that these regional trips will do that, but we also are looking forward to having national trips and even international trips to ensure that the exposure is given to our journalists. And while we do that, as I said, the second part, so there's the first part is capacity building. The second part of our exposure trip and the regional movement that we have shown to you is also to expose to our journalists some of the good things that we as a government also are doing. And I'm sure that in this visit that you've made, you must have seen many such works going on at the grassroots. Of course, we are aware that a lot more has to be done, but a lot of transformation is taking place at the grassroots. My positive point of view, which should be done, that's your responsibility. But at the same time, there are a lot of good things that are happening. And we hope that we'll be able to partner while we look at the faults and the mistakes and the areas which are not going so well, but also partner and see the areas where things are going well. Ultimately, as I said, we are all here to serve the people in one way or the other. And there are ways in which we can work together. Sometimes we may not, see eye to eye, we may not agree, but that's fine. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of positive stories, and we are hopeful that we will be able to partner with our press friends to ensure that these positive stories also come out. I was mentioning earlier about the changing nature of the press. I just wanted to add to that we are also aware that we have started taking the steps towards regulating things in a much more defined manner. We have recently come out with the Meghalaya Public Communications Policy 2024. We never had this kind of a policy, and I don't think many states in the country also have this kind of a policy. So we are one of the few states to have this, and really our attempt was to bring out a proper structure in the system, and that is what we have done. And of course there is a lot of room for improvement. So as we go along, we're hopeful that we'll get a lot of ideas from all of you, and we'll be able to take this forward and improve this policy so that we are able to adapt to this particular changing environment that we are in today. And this is something that's going to be very, very important for us. To extent, as I said, all these have happened during their time, and it is based on their suggestions that we come forward with different policies and programs. And keeping that in line, we've been discussing a lot about how to improve the overall relationship. And we've also realized that I think just one small example is regarding the advertisement money that was pending for a long time. And you're aware that this is a big issue for all of you, because obviously a lot of the revenues for the press, the media houses, not necessarily journalists, but for the media houses, the bills used to be pending for a long time. And if you remember that these bills were department-wise. So if there's an advertisement by PWD, then PWD used to pay for it. So if there's advertisement by sports, then sports pays for it. So which means that each of the media houses would have to run after each department to get their bills and their payments. So what happened in the recent past was we reformed that, and we made DIPR as the only department with which you will have to talk to and communicate. So whatever advertisements come out, the departments don't pay for it. It's DIPR's responsibility now. So a small change like this has streamlined the process. But now what has happened is that what the 40-50 departments used to do, one person has to do it now. So he's got a huge amount of work. So how do we now streamline that particular aspect is the next step, which we are working on, which means that the SOPs have to be looked into. We have to look into how we can reduce the red tapeism, if I may, in the system, and cut short the process in which the bills are finalized. Today, just to clear one bill of one advertisement, I think the director has to sign maybe 10, 15, 20 pages he has to sign, just for one advertisement. So that's how complicated things are. But, without quoting me, that's how government is. So we have to decomplicate government, and that's what we're trying to do. We need to support our journalists as well. And therefore, coming to my next point, that I'm happy that on an occasion like this, a few things I would like to share that we have come and decided on is that we had basically certain schemes where we were supporting journalists from the government from Meghalaya. There was a scheme in 2009 which had come out, and I will just read them out. So the scheme was, one scheme there was for the family of deceased journalist. We used to give 1 lakh to the family of a deceased journalist. We have decided, and I'm happy to announce that we are increasing that from 1 lakh to 5 lakhs. So 5 lakhs will be provided to the family under extreme hardship on account of the death of the journalist. We were giving 50,000 to journalists who suffer permanent disability. We have increased that amount, and now we have increased it to 3 lakhs. From 50,000, we're increasing that to 3 lakhs. So 3 lakhs will be provided to the journalists in case of permanent disability, rendering the journalists incapable of earning a livelihood. There was also an amount of 50,000 to journalists in case of extreme hardship due to illness. We have also decided that we will increase that amount from 50,000 to now 3 lakhs to be provided for treatments for different major ailments. So these are 3 important supports that the government was giving. So we have simply decided to enhance them. Another very important aspect which we are working on is we want to create some kind of a system where we are able to coordinate with the press and the journalists and the DIPR, and hence we'll be forming a small committee. This is Sarkari, of course, but we are forming a committee. But you will be happy to know why we're forming this committee. So this committee is being formed, and whoever the senior most bureaucrat, that means the commissioner secretary or principal secretary, will chair this, and of course director and other officials from the government will be there, and we will have 2 to 4 members. We're still working on it from the press and from the media who will be members in this committee. And this will facilitate the entire process of the coordination between the press and the government, which, as we know, was missing in some way. And small things were not happening because this kind of coordination was not there. So I'm sure that this committee will be very, very useful. And this committee is being formed. But more importantly, apart from the coordination that you will be doing, I have also decided that we will be putting a corpus of 35 lakhs in this particular committee. Now, and we will keep topping it up as and when the money is going down or whatever it is. We'll figure out the system, but immediately we'll be giving 35 lakhs to this committee, and most probably we will, because it hasn't come to the cabinet note yet to us, we will be most probably making this into an annual affair, but let the cabinet approve it. The idea and the purpose of this being that apart from the ailment, apart from the disability or any kind of situation that journalists may face, we also realize that there are other needs, especially, for example, post-retirement and other kind of benefits or other extreme situations. So this fund that we're keeping it of 35 lakhs, which will be with this committee, where 4 members from the press will be part of this committee to decide how this money should be used. You can use this money, say, for post-retirement, if you wish to support journalists who are in need from post-retirement support, or if there is any kind of situation which requires, again, funds to be used. This committee will be completely empowered to independently decide on how and this money should be used for whatever welfare purpose of the press fraternity. So I